Hello, welcome to Math 2413, Calculus 1, Winter Mini 2019. My name is Professor Smalley, and I'm making this video to help make proceeding through this course much easier and give you some guidance of how to find things, content, and D2L, so you're not spending a lot of extra time looking for stuff, hopefully, because it is a short term, so the quicker you can get started, the better. Anyway, first thing we'll show you, I'm just here at the Lone Star College homepage, and just kind of from here you can go class login, and I already have the page open, so I'll skip the login step, but I'll just show you. Actually, it's supposed to bring up something that says, I wonder why, okay. I don't know why it didn't actually ask me to log in, but there's a little button that says secure login, or one right below it in case secure login doesn't work. Kind of a backdoor path. Well, anyway, so you get into D2L, you find the course. I won't make it just do that. So here we go. Now I'm making this video around midnight when the class starts. So I've already submitted this announcement right here. But let's go to the home page of the course. I don't need two of these open. And let me point you to the key things. Now obviously your view probably looks a little different from student view. I'll show you just for a second here. View a student, then I'm going to go back to where I can see it from my perspective. Main areas of concern for you are the content. Grades that's just where you'll see your grades. You don't have to do anything in that folder, and then right down here, content, and then quizzes. That's the key things that you will be accessing throughout the course. Nothing else up here in this matters. All right, I'm going to switch back to viewing a student. Back to my view. Now I want to start with content. All right. Now you come over here, shows you all kinds of, we got files here with syllabus and other files, lecture notes, exam reviews, lecture videos, some other Cal2 stuff in the future. You could download and keep if you'd like to. That's fine. Now this is a video that was from the May course, so I'll be deleting this one and then replacing it with, you'll see it as December when you look at it, or Winter Mini like this. All right, so the syllabus, let's kind of plow through that real quick. I think sometimes I spend too much time talking about the syllabus where you can read most of that yourself. So let me just hit the highlights of it. And now I've got the file already open as a Word file, but I just want to show you. So it's kind of in this mini screen here, but you come down here, and that's how you can take, if you want to keep any of my files, they're just PDFs, so you can just download them and keep them for yourself. So let's just download this, take a look at it. Open, all right, yep. Just kind of hit the highlights, because you can always ask me questions about the syllabus later. I'm more interested in showing you stuff that maybe isn't so obvious of where it is. So, all right, blah, 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 here we go. All right, what are we going to learn? Okay, terrific. This, that, and the other. Now, this is the official textbook that we're going to be using. Now, it's very important that you watch that video when I talk about other potential options. One of those options, I'll tell you right now, is if you already have a calculus book, you can just use it. There will not be any assignments coming from that textbook. They're already built into D2L. They're not book dependent. You'll have these assignments where they'll the questions will be given to you. You don't have to research them out of a book or anything like that. So, well, watch later in this. I'm still watching the video. I'm making this thing too late at night. I'm making the video right now, so we're going to get to that here shortly. So, alrighty. Calculator, regular graphing calculators are fine, but I always put on the instructions that I send out to testing centers and proctoring services, ProctorU, is that, you know, you can't use a TI-89 or TI Inspire that says CAS on it. It can be just a regular CX, but anything like a TI-84, they make that new 84 CE, I guess that's the color edition or something, it's really pretty looking, and all that kind of stuff's fine. It's the ones that can do algebraic stuff that I don't like. I ban those. Now, I've got notes and videos, but if you want to hear a different way things are explained, Khan Academy. CalcChat.com is a good way to check. It's like an odd number answer key to some homework problems I'm going to show you about here a little bit later that are not submitted for a grade, as I'm mentioning right here. So this is important. How do we get a grade? You'll have homework, but that's just suggested practice problems. Do as few or as many as you want. It doesn't make any difference. But we do have something called quizzes. Those are graded assignments. They're actually more like homework because you're not taking them in real time like you would an exam. You're going to have, and I'll show you all that when we get through the syllabus. You actually work out a set of problems, and then you'll submit your answers or multiple choice. You'll submit the answers in D2L. So I call them quizzes. I've often thought about changing the name to homework sets or whatever, but people tell me, don't worry about it. Now I mentioned here, be careful. Sometimes I don't do this on purpose, but when you submit them in D2L, the quizzes, they can't change the numerical values. They're fixed, but they can scramble the order of the answers. So I hadn't figured out how to stop that. So just watch for you'll have plenty of time because all you're doing is just bubbling in your answers. Now the exams, all of the exams in this class are multiple choice. They will have adjusted grading scales for each exam, so that way it's sort of like a partial credit factor in there. So when you see your score, when you take an exam, it'll show you the score, but your grade will actually, when I go through, when everybody's done, I go through and enter the grades, and it'll be higher than what you saw when it submitted it. So, like, for example, an 80 might turn into, let's see, 80 I think turns into 88 or something like that. So that's what's going to happen there. Now we have the quizzes. Your best 4 will be dropped, and the best 6 will form a quiz grade. So your goals, I mean, if you can get 6 100s, that's terrific. But it's okay if you don't, But you want to make that grade as high as you possibly can. Those are very important, because they're going to get lumped in with the exams, and that's what's going to help you potentially drop an exam. I should have this mentioned right down here, but I'll scroll back up. But I'll mention it here. So we have 3 exams and a final, and the lowest of the 3. Now it says, I should say maybe and the quiz grade instead of plus the quiz grade will be dropped. So when somebody will ask me, are you dropping the lowest exam? I don't want to answer that directly, because I want to make sure people know that's if the quiz average replaces it. If it's, quiz average doesn't count twice, but it's the best 3 out of 4. So in other words, you can't drop your lowest exam and not do the quizzes both. That's not going to work. But for example, let's say you make a 90 on an exam, a 90 on an exam, a 70 on an exam, and you have a 95 quiz average. The 95 quiz average will go in there replace the 70, and you'll have 90, 95, 90, 90, and 95 would be those 3 scores. But it doesn't count twice. Now here in red, you see you're allowed to use one side of 8.5 by 11 sheet of notes, one side for each of the first 3 exams, and then the final you can use writing on both sides. Now I mentioned here I'm going to. They want us. It's very important that we start. I added this on this semester that tracking students that aren't now. Basically, participation is we don't have online attendance or anything like that. But I'm thinking about putting out this called it just attendance quiz where it's just maybe just one question where it's like, are you taking math 2413? You check yes, you submit. It's to verify that people are in the course and participating. Because if someone's not participating, the official roll date is 12/18, and you run the risk of being dropped from the course. So at least, and I probably could check via D2L also to see that you've at least entered D2L. But I think I'll do this little quiz thing here too, and you just go in there, 2 seconds, check the box, and move right out. But you can't just wait around 3 or 4 days. This is longer in a long semester. You can't wait 3 or 4 days, and I can't imagine why anybody would even be crazy enough to do that in a mini course to begin with. In a fall semester, that's understandable, but the drop date's usually like a couple of weeks after, so the semester starts. So, yeah, so you just want to make sure you go in there and make sure you're getting in, accessing D2L. And don't run the risk of being dropped as a non-participant in the course. I don't want to have to do that, but they want us to do that, so I will. So here's what I'm explaining. Here's the grading scale. Read this carefully. No extra credit for this course. So people sometimes will still ask that, and I just copy and paste that as part of my reply when they ask that. So here's what I'm talking about. The exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, and the quiz grade are all equally weighted. But the lowest of those 4 would be dropped. So we're keeping 3 of those. And it's possibly the quiz grade could be the lowest. I mean, if you had like 3 100s in the first exams and your quiz average was an 80, the quiz average goes. Now, that's very rare that the quiz grade is dropped. That's usually for someone that is making a strong A, because you really want that quiz grade to help you. It's very important that you want to do well on that, because that will help you immensely in your final average. And then the final exam is 25%, and it counts. It's mandatory, but it's not weighted any more than the individual exams. Now, we're required to put this sort of calendar in here, and it still needs some editing. Don't worry too much about this. So when I talk about it, usually I'll say calendar, I'll say D2L calendar. This calendar is just there as a guide to pace yourself. It has nothing really that useful there, but we're just supposed to put it in there. Now, when I update, of course, I'll let you know. The important thing is when I say calendar in any announcements, I'll try to make sure to remember to say D2L calendar, because that's the important one. That's the calendar that has your due dates for things. So when we say calendar, that's way more important for this. This is just a general guideline. You kind of work at your pace. It just gives you a suggestion of at what rate you want to cover stuff. It's hard to, so yeah, that's all that is. So that's not anything. All right, I'm not going to go through all this. I'm going to let you read that and let you, here are the exam dates. Now I'm going to send exam 1. I'm going to send out to the testing centers tomorrow, and then ProctorU, which ProctorU is a proctoring website. If you're somewhere that you can't get to a Lone Star College testing center, you can use that. I don't know what the fee is, what they charge for proctoring those. Now, these deadline dates, for ProctorU, it's only open on those 2 days. And you must make an appointment before 10 p.m. I'll talk about that too. But this is up to and including. That means you can take the exam earlier than that. Now I realize in a 4-week term that'll be harder to do in a long term. I try to recommend people doing that in a long semester, but I think it's just human nature for people to wait to the very last minute. Here it's more understandable because we're covering so much in 4 weeks. Of course, you're going to have some limitations if you're using the testing center, of course. Because they're going to be closed on the 25th. But ProctorU, you could do it on the 25th if you want to, because, you're just taking it from computer with a webcam, whatever. So same thing with exam 2, because they'll be closed on New Year's Day. But that's my point being, is though you could take it in the testing center on the 31st if you wanted to, and not wait until the 2nd. That's only if you wanted to. So these, just make it clear, like I say, these are deadline dates right here, but they're not the only date you have to take it. But in most cases, that's what people probably do. So I'll talk about the Proctor USC a little bit. But all right, so they're all right, academic calendar, blah, blah, blah. Okay, there's the syllabus. Let's go back in here and see where we can... Syllabus and other sorted files. Okay. All right, so let's go through here and hit some highlights. The syllabus is there. We just went over that. Now this is important. I don't do this for every exam. It looks like, well, okay, it looks like I have it hidden right now. I don't think I'm changing the final exam question type, so I'll probably just go ahead and open it up right now. Let's see. Well, I'll have to figure out later what it... Oh, okay. Let's see if that opens it up for you. Now, I don't do this for every exam. Now, we have exam reviews, but I do it for the final. So I'm going to make sure it has that where you can see it. We go back there. It lists problems based on sections from a book, not our book, which I'll talk about here in a minute. So it tells you what kind of problems to study, essentially. But the other exams just have reviews, and meaning it's be stuff kind of from the reviews, from the quizzes, that sort of thing. But here, that way it just saves you a little time for the final. You just can only concentrate on those questions, so you don't have to worry about everything. I'll remind you about this when we get closer to the end. So let's see what we have here. Problem type testing center info. That's a web link to the testing center. And I thought probably produce this for you too. It's very important. Now, testing center hours are limited. And then this file right here, I'll probably post it also as a PDF. But now that you know, so if you click on the testing center link, actually, obviously the page will pop up probably up here further, right there. And then you scroll down. So it's not the same as normal fall semesters. And you may have to plan accordingly, like you may have to go somewhere other than your favorite testing center. It depends on... That should probably only apply mainly for exam 1 and exam 2. Because I believe yes, that should be... If we... I'll have the syllabus up here, so in Word files, so I'll have to go back in D2L. But 1-2 might even be open normal again by 1-2, a full day at the testing center. But the last two, yet you won't have this problem. But for exams 1 and 2, you will. It's kind of obvious you want to zoom in on this or whatever, but I may or may not print this, but now that I'm showing you in the video where to find it. So they start shutting down. You see lots of them are closed on certain days. Limited hours. So you see a lot of satellites probably aren't going to be open during that time period. Like here's the 26th. Let's see if I can scroll back up there and see who's open. Most of them look like 9-2 or 9-1. One of them's 9-1. Oh, actually, there's a satellite that's open. Sci-Fair's open 9-2 on the 26th. East Aldine Center 9-1. Victory, another satellite campus, is 9-2. North Harris 9-2. Tomball 9-2, and University Park 9-2. So if you're like a Kingwood student or a Montgomery student, those are closed. You could choose to pay to use ProctorU, or drive over and to one of the other ones that are convenient. I think, like for example, Kingwood students could probably get to North Harris fairly easily, and Montgomery could get to Tomball or University Park. So pay attention to that calendar, so that when you're planning out your schedule. But then, even on the 2nd, so you have more flexibility. So it might just be really exam 1, because January 2nd to Thursday, that's the deadline for exam 2. All of them are open full hours, so that's good. That'll work out just right then. They're regular hours. You can double check to verify what those are going to be based on what center you prefer. And okay, so that'll be good. But exam 1 will be a little tricky, time-wise. But other than that, we should be good. That's terrific news. D2L quiz entry. I'll talk about that here in a minute, and then reviewing the quiz and exam submissions. Now this is going to need to be added to here. This practice list. I'll come back to that. Here's a link to Khan Academy. Here's some algebra and trig stuff. Things that's not going to hurt you. I know it's a quick class. It's not as easy to, but if you can look around at some of that and just see what's there. A long semester, people should be able to do that. All right, this is key right here. Pay careful attention to this. When I was talking about textbook earlier, you don't have to get that Larson textbook. Here's this tab right here, other resources. That's a PDF. Well, as soon as it opens up, it's a PDF to an old Larson textbook, very old edition. Well, I say very old, just calculus hadn't exactly changed in a decade or so. So you can download that thing. You can use that. You don't have to get that book. Or like I said before, if you have any other book you already like, go right ahead. So that's very important. You have access to that book. And that's what this homework list is about. All right, come on, get back in there. Now, we're using a new Larson book that's called Early Transcendentals. Transcendentals are functions like exponentials, natural logarithms, inverse trigs, and they do things a little bit earlier. Now, this homework list, like I said, is just a practice list of stuff. But now, that thing is, I'll leave this up here, and obviously you can pause it and whatever you want and take a picture of it for now. But it's not complete. The one that's there, so I'm working on this thing. I'll be working on it the next couple days or so, rearranging stuff. Now, the first unit of the course is perfectly matched. And I'll retitle all this. But what this means, I'll just tell you verbally so you can hear me say it for now. On the left, this is the Larson 9th. I'll put a label here whenever I post this. That's that Larson 9th. That's that PDF book. These are the sections in that new Larson book, which, don't have to mean anything to you, obviously. But it's only fair that I put those there since that's the book, although I need to label it properly. So the left column tells you the sections you're using. Everything is perfect. Just some suggested practice problems. It's the exam. This is the exam. Okay, that means this is exam 1 is at the bottom of this, not the top. So everything above the line is exam 1. So I've got to do some work on the exam 2, exam 3. I'll keep that going as you're going. We'll get this done together. So everything's beautiful there, because some of the quizzes are going to need to be rearranged. But so don't get too far ahead. I should probably maybe hide some of those quiz files. Actually, would be the smart thing to do after I just show you here. But quizzes 1, 2, and 3 are fine. Or I'll even say it in a written announcement if I don't want to hide them, or just could delete them. But I don't want you to start. I don't want you to start working on the PDF files if they're not going to be correct. So speaking of which, here's how the quiz process goes. So it's got to given the sections from that Larson book. So here's quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3. Everything's beautiful with those. Everything's not beautiful with the others. So I should probably just delete them, I guess. But there might be some that are still usable. But anyway, here's what you do. You go the early as possible, obviously. Get these things, open them up. Whether you print them or not, it's totally up to you. You can just work on a piece of paper. So you click on the PDF. So your job is to go through here. Each one of them has 10 problems, so it's not like you're going to do one that has 10 and all of a sudden maybe, you're worried about the next one might be 30 or something, But no, they're all 10 each. You have 10 of them. So you go through these. You answer all these questions. And then, of course, before the deadline, which I'll show you here in a minute, you got to get them done. Mark your answers. I'll say watch for scrambling when you enter the quizzes. But you mark all your answers. Then you'll come up. Okay, let's go back up here. I'll go back to, I'll come back to the content in a minute. But so you'll take the file, then you'll go to this, the course activities. These are where the quizzes are located. They're also where the exams are located. Now, the only difference is the exams are password protected. So the proctor will enter the exam code password. Quizzes are not password protected. So now, they're all technically open now, but do not click on these until you're ready to submit your answers. Like I told you, everything's set through exam 1. I'll be modifying and updating these dates as we go. But here's what you have to have started right now. You got one due on the 20th, and the 22nd, and the 24th, and the deadline for exam 1 will be that 26th that we talked about. Notice the quizzes are due at 11 p.m. Now the exam 11 p.m. That's meaningless if you're taking it at a testing center. But here's something very important. This is why I put on the ProctorU the deadlines for 10 p.m. Because I had this issue for the first time I started using ProctorU and it was a mess. You need to get your appointment. You need to have a 10 p.m. appointment, no later than that. Not that it's going to take an hour, but I was letting people take appointments too close to 11, but they got to do some stuff. I think they look at your room and the webcam, and they got to look. Anyway, long story short, if you make the appointment at 10, and by the time they're ready to start, it'll be before 11, and they'll be able to access the test. The problem that I was having when I first did this is I was letting people make appointments too close to 11, and then by the time the proctor got everything set up, the test entry had expired. So you've got to make your appointment by 10 p.m. and you'll still get the full time limit, though. I think I have these deadlines for like 4 hours or something like that. So if you start it, keep that in mind too. If you're a person that doesn't stay up too late, if you're making a late appointment, you might be kind of extra tired and drowsy. That's something to think about. But theoretically, though, you can make the appointment by 10. They get you started by 10:30. The exam will not end at 11. It just means it cannot be opened past 11 o'clock. So keep in mind if you're worried about working, I want extra time to study, and that's wonderful. But if you think you're going to be fatigued, that's no good either. So everything else is going to be fixed as we go. Keep everything going. You got plenty of entertainment here the first week, and I'll be working on it tomorrow, the next day after that. And now to enter the quiz, you click on this. Oh, let me mention one more thing too. To view a quiz, I'll talk about that here in a second. It's 1 hour after that deadline. So even if you submit it early, you have to wait until midnight on the 21st to view your submission. People ask me, I made a 90, which one did I miss? And you just have to wait, then you can see. Then if you want to ask about it afterwards, that's fine. But I don't tell you which one you miss until after the deadline. So you just click on this, and then that will get you into the quiz. Now, after you've submitted, then you go through and you'll hit submit. After you submit the quiz, and let's say it is midnight on the 21st, you don't click on that blue thing again because that won't accomplish anything. It looks like that would be the way to do it, but it's not. It seems logical, but it's not right. What you'll do is click down this drop-down arrow. Now, I may not say anything here because I haven't submitted a quiz, but there'll be something on there that says view submissions or something like that. View your submission. There won't be as many choices. Well, that's because I'm in an instructor mode, too. I can do stuff like edit, blah, blah, blah. So that's how you'll view it, is by clicking the drop-down arrow. I have a PDF file in that same folder where the syllabus and the textbook, that old book is, that tells you how to do it. So don't be afraid to click on those files, and look through there. Short little, it just shows you some nice pictures and images on what to do. So it's easy. Reviewing quizzes or something or another, whatever it says. So there's how so the course activity quizzes is how you access your quizzes, and that's where you'll be taking your exams. So let me go back to content. So I showed you the quiz file, which obviously need to be updated. And let's see how we're doing here. Not too much more. Should be almost over. All right, there's those quizzes. And yeah, I'll go back to this course content, syllabus and older files, other files. And sometimes people just won't look around through here. It's no, you're not going to hurt anything. Just look around. It's not that difficult, but I'm saying it verbally now, so hopefully you'll remember. Yeah, reviewing quiz and exam submissions. So you just open that thing up, and it'll show you about what I was just explaining about clicking that. Then the line above it tells you quiz entry. I'm not going to walk through the details. I'm just going to show you. So, yeah, that saves you a lot of time. Then I'm happy to reply to you, but it's kind of, you can do things a lot quicker. Like, for example, I'm not really a morning person, so I'm not going to, so if you email me at 8 in the morning, you probably won't get a response till in the afternoon. So that's time you could have already viewed your quiz, by looking at this and not even have had to ask me. There it is. Drop down arrows, submissions. So I'm just trying to save time for everybody here. Back to content. This is going to be rearranged probably a little bit. Everything, like I said, I keep saying over and over and over, but everything through exam 1 is set in stone. Everything else is going to be tweaked a little bit here and there to reorder some content. Not a major overhaul. So notes, lecture notes. So you see they're grouped by exam. That one says pre-cal notes. That's just old pre-cal notes. If you want them, that's not part of our exam. So there you go. So there's each section right there. Where you got PDF files all through there, broken down by each exam, except for the ones that are going to be restructured a bit. I may rename these as far as I may put both sections, new book versus Larson 9th, that sort of thing. But anyway, don't worry about that. It's good to go right now. That's what sections it is in that Larson 9th. There's that. We have I have right down here, I have lecture videos. And they're also grouped by each section, so you get a verbal explanation of me explaining this stuff. Everything just goes right to YouTube videos, so you get to hear. So you got that resource, and then we have exam reviews. And I have now these videos. In addition to some of the lecture videos may be restructured. Some of this may be restructured because of the rearranging of the content, but I will update the videos as I need to do. But I have the PDF files that show you, here are the samples for exam problems. That means essentially, there's only, as I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I mentioned there's 20 problems per test on the regular exams, and there's 30 on the final. So don't freak out if this review might have 60 or 70 problems. I always forget to mention that in these videos. And people, holy cow, is that how long the test is going to be? No, it's just to get you to practice more. That's all, to really cover your bases on knowledge and stuff. So this is the file with the questions. This is my handwritten answers to the problems. Then these videos are my verbal explanation of those handwritten solutions. So I'm kind of like talking through them, like following the bouncing ball. I'm not actually writing and talking, but some of them I have grouped. I remember I did this because at that point in time I was having trouble with videos not compiling properly and giving me error, and nothing more frustrating than doing one of these for an hour and it doesn't work. So anyway, I just started doing them in sections at a time just to increase the likelihood I wouldn't have any errors. I wouldn't have to redo the whole video. Plus, I'd get tired of talking too. So they're grouped by problem sets here. This one, the first one's for all of them. All right, so that might get some tweaking, based on the new content, but nothing's going to be removed permanently or anything. So, well, you know what? I believe that's about it. I think we've looked through the syllabus, talked about the grading process, showed you that other resources with that other book, and talked about the quizzes, how to submit them, and then showed you the resources to help prepare for exams and the course itself with lecture notes and videos. And I think I covered everything, so I'll go ahead and stop here, and hopefully that'll make you feel more confident about where to start instead of just opening this course up and going, where do I go? Since I started doing these videos a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, it's really helped the students, and it's helped me because I'm happy to answer questions, but I get fewer just, completely, I don't know what to do, where to start here kind of things, after seeing this. Of course, if you, have seen this and want to look at some stuff, please feel free to drop me questions. That's what I'm here for. But I think you should be a little less kind of bewildered on the process now. So, all right, good luck, and hope we have a fantastic 4 weeks in this class. So, good evening.